Welcome to Lone Star Gun Talk, everybody. I am Derek Wills, and I am fired up today. I have been chomping at the bit all week, and it's just been... I'm really glad that I haven't been able to record, because just everything that's happened has just been piling on, and I am just sitting here just ready for all of it. So... you have so much that has gone on. Everybody by this point is aware of everything that's been going on in this country. We had some idiot in Las Vegas from a 32nd floor of a hotel shoot into a crowd of people, kill 59 and wound over 500. And it's an atrocious act. Absolutely atrocious. Immediately, you have the left coming after... bump fire stock, saying that we need to ban these. And I was having a conversation with a friend of mine. I said, it's going to happen. They're going to ban them. And he said, no, we won't. The very next day, you have Donald Trump saying, we'll talk about gun laws here in a bit in the future. And then you have Paul Ryan, who scuttles the Hearing Protection Act and, from what I've heard, concealed carry reciprocity as well. You have the National Rifle Association coming out and saying we need more regulation on these bump fire stocks. So, who's ready for more gun laws? There's a reason that bump fire stocks are selling for $1,500 right now online. $1,500. Why? Because they are about to get banned. You know, everybody railed against Obama, and myself included, because he was trying to enact gun control. But the Republicans stood strong then. We cannot let our Second Amendment rights be diluted any further. Well, I guess that mentality's changed now, because they don't like our Second Amendment rights. And many people, including good conservative people, have asked me, why does anybody need a bump fire stock or even fully automatic weapons? And it's not about need. Why do you need a speedy trial by jury? Do you need that right now? Are you planning on breaking the law? Are you planning on becoming a criminal? No, you don't need it until you need it. It's not about need. It's about the rights of the people to keep and bear arms and how it's not to be infringed. Period. No asterisk that says, unless it's a fully automatic or select fire weapon. There is no caveat. So, let's back up a bit. I'm not going to say the shooter's name because I don't want to play into the narrative of giving him the attention that he wants, so his legacy will live on. He will just be known as the Las Vegas shooter here. The Las Vegas shooter carried an arsenal of weapons up to the 32nd floor of the Mandalay Bay Casino. He then opened fire on a crowd of concert goers across the street. Now, I'm not going to get into the conspiracy theories. I don't believe them at this point. And I'm not a conspiracy theorist anyway. I usually find ways to debunk them, and I'm not going to get into that right now. I'm going to go with the official story for now until something convinces me otherwise. And yes, I know there's a video out there. Again, I'm not going to play into that just yet. He carried weapons in, and everybody is railing against, the security. Well, I don't know if anybody's actually been to Las Vegas, but there are a lot of people that are in every casino and hotel on the Strip. I spent a lot of time in Las Vegas, and I can tell you, it's easy to get lost in there. And by that, I mean if somebody wants to look for you, that's a good place to go. A lot of crowds, a lot of diverse people. It is the ideal place to get lost. So whenever people are like, how come nobody noticed that he was carrying multiple suitcases up to his room? Because it's not hard to get lost there. You know how many people walk through the lobby with luggage? You know how many older white guys walk through the lobby with luggage? It's easy. I mean, seriously, it is absolutely easy for him to do that, to make multiple trips and have nobody notice. He used a bump fire stock. And what is a bump fire stock? It is a device that allows the kinetic energy of the recoil of the weapon to basically simulate a fully automatic function. It still requires individual pulls of the trigger, but the way it operates is it allows your trigger finger and the trigger to make contact at an incredible speed. It was the free market solution to the full auto ban of. Believe it or not, you have the God-given right to own a fully automatic weapon. Now, we have since banned them, but that doesn't make it right. There are plenty of laws on the books that are unconstitutional, and there are plenty of practices and mentalities out there that people have no problems infringing on constitutional rights. It happens every day. Just go to the airport if you want to see an infringement on your Fourth Amendment. Many people, even good conservative people, have asked me, well, what does somebody need a fully automatic weapon for? What does somebody need to simulate a fully automatic weapon for? And it's not about need. We don't have the bill of needs. I know that is a talking point that has been hammered to hell, but it is absolutely true. We do not have a bill of needs. We have a bill of rights. The vast majority of us will not ever have a need for a speedy trial by jury. Many of us will never have the need to not testify against ourselves. Many of us will not have the need to not be harassed by law enforcement against unlawful search and seizure. It's not about needs. If it were, we wouldn't have any of those protections. It's about rights. If Congress were to ban Mormonism, is that an infringement on the First Amendment? Absolutely it is. It says, or prohibit the free exercise thereof. That's like asking, why does anybody need Joseph Smith when they got Jesus? It's not about need. It's about your right to do as you see fit. Do you need to carry a Bible with you at all times? No. What if you choose to? That is your prerogative. But Derek, the right to carry a Bible around isn't going to kill 59 people and wound 500. Okay. Was it the weapon that killed 59 people and wounded 500? Or was it the guy behind the trigger operating it? You know, Timothy McVeigh used a Ryder truck filled with fertilizer to kill 168 people and wound over 600. Not one firearm was used. He was a terrorist. And the 9/11 hijackers, guess what? They used box cutters and airplanes. Evil will find a way to carry out its acts no matter what laws are against it. Even if you ban fully automatic weapons, which it's already happened, there is nothing to actually stop somebody from carrying them. How many drive-by shootings in Chicago are committed with Uzis and AKs that are all full auto? We won't know because the media will never tell us, and a lot of those cases go unsolved. The arrest rate in Chicago is ridiculously low because these gangbangers, they refuse to talk. Even victims of gang violence refuse to talk to police. We will never be able to stop evil from carrying out what it does. So fast forward a few days, and we posted this on Facebook, and it was called fake news by a lot of people. The post was, that Donald Trump said that he would look at the gun laws, indicating to me that he would be open to regulations or even outright banning bump fire stocks. This is after we knew what was happening or what weapons were used. And you know what? Here's the audio. Tell me if it's fake.
We'll be talking about gun laws as time goes by.
We'll be talking about gun laws as time goes by. What type of gun laws are we going to? I mean, I don't think that he's going to be talking about concealed carry reciprocity. I don't think that he's going to be talking about deregulating suppressors. Sounds to me like we will be talking about gun laws in the near future means he's going to be open to regulation. And then it comes out. Paul Ryan announces that he has pulled the Hearing Protection Act and that he is open to talking with Dianne Feinstein about regulating bump stocks. And people are furious now. Well, guess who else comes out for it? The National Rifle Association. And I have said many times on this program that I am not a fan of the NRA, but I did it with a little bit of coy because I do not want to alienate my audience. Well, I'm sorry. This is the very reason I do not support the National Rifle Association. They have a history of destroying our gun rights and not protecting them. All the way back to 1934, the National Rifle Association has backed gun control laws. In fact, they have backed the vast majority of the most infamous federal gun control laws on the books. Here's their track record. In case you're curious as to how much they've supported and fought for your rights, 1934, the National Rifle Association backs the National Firearms Act. This placed a $200 tax on short-barreled rifles and shotguns, fully automatic weapons and suppressors, and then the catch-all AOWs. During a testimony before Congress discussing the National Firearms Act, the president of the National Rifle Association, who at the time was Carl Frederick, said this, quote, "I have never believed in the general practice of carrying weapons. I seldom carry one. I do not believe in the general promiscuous toting of guns. I think it should be sharply restricted and only under licenses." Okay, that's 1934. They went on to support the Federal Firearms Act of 1938, which established FFLs, Federal Firearms Licenses. You have to be a manufacturer, a licensed manufacturer, and you also have to be a licensed dealer. 1968, they supported most of the Gun Control Act, which established prohibited persons, including anybody, quote, addicted to marijuana. They also supported the Firearm Owners Protection Act, which actually fixed the few provisions of the Gun Control Act that they opposed, but at the same time also banned fully automatic weapons manufactured after May 19th, 1986, when the bill was signed. There's a reason that whenever you walk into a gun shop and you see a select fire weapon, that the price tag is typically around $25,000. That's because that happened almost overnight. Before the FOPA was signed, a select fire M16 went for about $700. And as soon as it was signed, it became a surplus weapon. And the price skyrocketed to tens of thousands of dollars. You're already seeing this with bump fire stocks now. If you go online and look for a bump fire stock, if you can find one, they're $1,500. It's the same story over and over and over again. Continuing on the NRA's track record, they also supported the Gun-Free School Zones Act of 1990, making all schools gun-free zones, because that's how we protect our children. Last session, during the Texas legislative session, they remained silent on constitutional carry. The TSRA pushed their bastardized version of it. And by the way, the TSRA is the NRA. Make no mistake, they are just the Texas version of the NRA. They are the same company. I promise you, just look it up. The NRA did publicly come out and say, oh yeah, we support the reducing the fees for your LTC. But they were silent on constitutional carry. What makes this really crazy is, depending on the state, they'll come out for it. I think they came out for it in Wisconsin, I believe. But they were silent on it in Texas. Because there's no money here for that. And now they're calling for additional regulations on bump fire stocks and similar devices. All while constantly calling their members and saying, hey, give us more money so we can protect your Second Amendment rights. When have you ever protected our Second Amendment rights? Never. You have been a sporting organization. You don't care about the reason behind the Second Amendment, why it's there. All you care about is certifying instructors, which, guess what? To be an LTC instructor, you have to have an NRA certification. Wonder why. People have a right to be upset, but you know what? They should not be surprised today, because given their track record, they have not opposed hardly anything. They have supported far more gun control than opposed. The only thing they actually opposed was the Brady Handgun Violence Protection Act, which I opposed, but they conceded after an amendment was made to the bill. The bill originally came out and said that it mandated a 7-day waiting period, and that's what they opposed. What they conceded was an amendment was added to, after 5 years, there would be the NICS background check system that we all know and love today, and I say that definitely tongue-in-cheek. So guess what, guys? Bump fire is going to become illegal. I'm just going to say it now. It's either going to become illegal or it's going to require an NFA stamp or something. Because nobody in Congress actually cares about your Second Amendment rights. We already have Republican support enough to pass it in the Senate, likely enough to pass it in the House. Donald Trump says that, quote, we'll talk about gun laws. I'm sure he'll be up for it. So guess what? The Republican Party has sold you out again. And it's been with the support of the National Rifle Association, as well as the Texas State Rifle. And to all you people out there who are making excuses for the National Rifle Association, saying that they know how to, they're just doing politics. They're playing the political game. You know what? That's not an excuse. I think you are smarter than that, and I think you deserve better. I mean, could you imagine if there was a religious freedom organization out there who said, you know what, we're going to allow restriction on the Baptist denomination just so we can advance a couple of rights on Protestants? I mean, imagine that. We're going to restrict Mormonism so we can allow non-denominational Christians less of a tax burden. It doesn't matter, because you do not compromise, you do not play politics with your God-given rights. Ever. So stop making it okay. Stop making excuses for the National Rifle. Under no circumstances is it okay for you to play politics with your God-given rights. That should be appalling to. Right now on Lone Star Gun Rights' website, and we've been posting it all over Facebook, we have a petition going for Congress demanding that they leave our rights alone, demanding that they restore our Second Amendment rights, and I really encourage you to sign it and here's what it says. To my elected officials in the U.S. House of Representatives and Senate, whereas the First Congress of the United States of America amended the Constitution to protect the right of the people to keep and bear arms, And whereas the language of the Second Amendment was written in plain English to prevent the government from placing any encroachment, restriction, or infringement upon the rights of the people to keep and bear arms. And whereas the Supremacy Clause of Article 6 clearly states that the Constitution and laws of the United States, which shall be made in pursuance thereof, shall be the supreme law of the land. And whereas the National Firearms Act of 1934, Federal Firearms Act of 1938, Gun Control Act of 1968, Firearm Owners Protection Act, Brady Handgun Violence Protection Act of 1993 are all infringements on the Second Amendment. And whereas the new proposed legislation to ban and or regulate an accessory commonly called a bump fire stock is also an infringement, and whereas all infringements on the Second Amendment are repugnant to the Constitution and a violation of the plain English of Article 6 and the Second Amendment, therefore be it resolved that I, a citizen of the United States of America, do hereby call upon my congressmen, senators, and congressional leadership to recognize that the right to bear arms has been infringed upon since 1934. And therefore be it further resolved that I call on the aforementioned members of Congress to denounce any and all support for any legislation that further infringes on the Second Amendment and demand that they vote against any such legislation. And be it finally resolved that should my representative and or senators vote in favor of such aforementioned legislation, that I will fight to have you removed from office by any legal means for breaking your oath to support and defend the Constitution of the United States. If you go to our website, LoneStarGR.com, under activism, you will find a link that says petition against gun control legislation. That's where you find it. Sign it. Share it. Tell all of your friends to sign it as well. We will not compromise on your gun rights. In fact, we want everything that was listed there, we want repealed, because everything listed there is an infringement, and we do not sell out. Also, we have started a Patreon page. For those that don't know what Patreon is, it is a great website for organizations to help raise money, and in return, you get some great benefits. So you can support us for as little, but there are different tiers that we offer. So there is a $1 membership, $5, $10, $20, and $50. And the higher you go, the better the perks. And you also get all of the perks for the tiers below that. So here's what you get. For $1 a month, you get a Lone Star Gun Rights decal to put on your car. It's UV proof and won't fade, and will always let people know that you are a Lone. And you get the benefit of supporting a great gun rights organization that refuses to compromise on. For $5 a month, you will get entered into a quarterly drawing to enter for Lone Star Gun Rights gear, be it shirts, hats, things like that, or we might also be giving away boxes of ammo. It really depends. But once we get 50 patrons, we will enter everybody that is on that second tier into the drawing for either ammo or apparel, or whatever else we might be coming out with. For $10 a month, you'll get all of that, plus automatically get a Lone Star Gun Rights shirt of your choice. And we are also working with business owners across Texas to offer discounts to members as long as you're a part of that tier. For $20 a month, you will get everything as mentioned before. Plus, you will get a thank you by name, both on the podcast here, as well as on our YouTube channel for Lone Star Gun News, Lone Star Gun Reviews. As long as you stay at that tier, you will be given a constant thank you for your specific support, which we really appreciate, everybody, but this is just one of the additional perks that you get. You will also get exclusive access to new Lone Star Gun Rights gear, apparel, hats, and anything else we might be coming out with. You'll get early access to all of that before it's released to anybody. And then finally, for the $50 a month. You get everything as before. And then once a year, we will have a drawing for a firearms giveaway. Obviously, you must be able to pass all federal and state laws as to being able to possess a gun and background checks and all that fun stuff. But as long as you are a $50 tier member, you will be entered into that drawing every year. The only other caveat to that is before we can have the drawing, we need at least 10 people at this level. That way it's actually kind of a drawing and not a giveaway to our one and only person that wants to give $50 a month to Lone Star Gun Rights. Rest assured, though, that we guarantee that every dollar that we get will go to fund our fight and our mission, both here in Texas to get constitutional carry passed, and it seems we're going to war with Congress as well. So we're going to need all the ammo that we can get. And every dollar that you send us is ammunition for our fight. And it's greatly appreciated. I promise it will not be misused. Like I said, nobody here gets paid to do anything. We are strictly 100% volunteer. And under no circumstances will we sell out your rights. We will not compromise. We firmly believe in the Second Amendment as it was written. And our ultimate goal is to get every gun control law on the books repealed, including everything at the federal level and everything at the state level. Because, to be honest, shall not be infringed means exactly that. We believe our right to bear arms comes from God, and that government has no authority to regulate those rights. So, become a patron today. Go to patreon.com/Lone Star Gun Rights, all one word. So Patreon, patreon.com/Lone Star Gun Rights. We will get you signed up, and we really appreciate it. This will help us out in more ways than you can imagine. And you can be assured that every dollar that you send us will be put to good use. I promise, not one. I also want to thank everybody who has supported us. We would not have gotten anywhere without each and every one of you, so we really appreciate everything so far. And here's to the future. We will fight tooth and nail to protect everybody's rights and try and get your rights restored. Anyway, that does it for me. Please share with your friends and family, and give us a rate on iTunes and Stitcher and all of that, wherever you may be listening. Until next Sunday, Lone Star Gunners, arm yourself with knowledge and share the ammo. I will talk to you all next week.